Kings Island is bringing a hauntingly familiar attraction back, but with a new twist. Hello, everyone. Alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans, because that's who we are and that's who we care about. Don, I'm so excited to talk about this, but first, let's thank our Prestige members. I want to give a shout out to Miss Mandy, 1983, Lil Mac, 21, Brian Hauser, 330T, Logan Lipper, Aaron Bort, Jacob Fix, Damon Barnes, Dakota Cole, Eric Grau, Dustin Jackson, Songstress Miku, Lack Ray, Galaxy B-Boy, Medic 302, Eastern Coaster guys and girls, Justin Y, and Mike Garrett. Thank you guys so much for supporting Tower Topics to the highest level. That's the prestige level. If you want to be involved in Tower Topics, there's a link in the description. Members get early access to the videos, exclusive content, exclusive live streams, and some tiers even get some free stuff. So hit that button if you're interested.
Ryan, the Maestro is back. Only this time it's Phantom Theater opening nightmare. It'll open in 2026. They say at the park. It'll be ready to go when the park opens in April. It's going to mark the next chapter in the park's storied history. It's reviving the beloved characters of the original 1992 dark ride, Phantom Theater, while introducing a bold, modern reimagination that blends immersive storytelling, cutting-edge effects, and a healthy dose of mischief. I'm excited about this.
I am over the moon. It's funny because, we kind of talked about how, this was going to be what was coming. But then when it was announced, there's always that doubt in you. And then when it's really announced and it's really real, like, 10 o'clock this morning, they dropped the press release and everything. And I could not wait until the time came for us to record this, because I could talk all day about Phantom Theater. But this is a new story. The story begins on a dark and stormy night when the Maestro, the theater's eccentric resident organist, prepares for his long-awaited performance. But when lightning strikes his mighty pipe organ, chaos erupts. Ghostly notes escape, swirling through the theater and unleashing a chain reaction of supernatural antics.
Yeah, 26 different interactive scenes are going to be featured in this attraction. That's going to add multi-sensory effects like wind and sound, hidden Easter eggs. I like that throughout the attraction. So I'm very excited about this. When you and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we did an episode saying the Maestro would be back, one of the things that I did mention and I wanted to warn was everybody was going to get excited that Phantom Theater was back, but this was not going to be the same ride that had been in there before. And with technology, right, we thought that there was an opportunity to do it better. And I think, when you look at things sometimes, I have this little saying that nothing's as good as it used to be, and it never was. As beloved as Phantom Theater was, and as the years go by, it gets even better in your mind. I really think this is going to be a better ride than what they had with the original Phantom Theater.
Yeah. So one of the things that something in my head was, my God, it better not be a shooting ride. But they're doing the flashlights. You're trying to expose the ghost with the flashlights. And I will
like
say
the music
this.
notes are floating around in there. So I think that's a nice effect. But yeah, I like the flashlights better than
I like that idea.
guns.
Yeah.
You can't take guns into a theater. You can't do that.
John Wilkes Booth did. Anyway, the flashlights, that's interesting. And I hope they do replace the guns. I hope it's not, because they're still the Scooby-Doo guns. They've still got the little, peace sign on the back and so on. But if they replace them with actual things, you pull the trigger, it's an actual flashlight and it's immersive and you can interact with the music notes and so on. I think that's going to make for an awesome experience.
Yeah, Sally Dark Rides. They were the ones that have designed this. They're a leader in family-friendly immersive attraction. So I'm very excited to see Sally involved with this project. It's them doing it, not anybody at the park level. So I think it's, I think it's going to be a really good attraction. I know there's always those that are, not happy any year that, something's announced and it's not a record-breaking roller coaster. They get upset about that, but it's a bigger picture than the enthusiast communities. We love the enthusiast community, but you're trying to appeal to guests of all ages, and this attraction hits on that.
Yeah, it's funny because 98% of people online were the way that I thought it would be, where they're like, "Oh my God, can it be spring yet?" But there were a few people that are like, this is a snooze fest. Like, why didn't they do Looney Tunes and stuff? And it's like, to me, like, I couldn't, if they did Looney Tunes, if I found out they had the option to do Looney Tunes or Phantom Theater and they chose Looney Tunes, I would have lost my mind,
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
know?
would not have been a fan of that. And this is also something when you think about the possibility, and we're saying just possibility, that they let the Peanuts contract expire at the end of the year and they do shift to Looney Tunes. This is one of those ways too to kind of soften that a little bit for those that are attached to Peanuts and would be highly upset. They're going to be thinking about Phantom Theater, so they're going to still be excited about things. So I think it's one of those opportunities for the park too to put something in it. Guests are going to love, guests of all ages, and also, if those individuals that aren't happy about the switch from Peanuts to Looney Tunes, well, at least they might be happy about this.
They're going to make everybody unhappy in some way and everybody happy in some way. That's the beauty of it. But anyway, this information was officially dropped. There was a teaser last week, but this week they officially dropped, the press release with a lot more information, including confirmation of the return of Phantom Theater. It's going to be Phantom Theater Opening Nightmare, which is not a name that was on our bingo card, but I do like it.
No, it wasn't. We were kicking around some of those last night, and we were close, but not. We didn't hit this one. We just knew it wouldn't be Phantom Theater itself, but we had some kind of a variation of the Phantom Theater Encore something, and a few other things out there. But I do like the name. I think it's really good. I think they're going to have great opportunity here with merchandise to do some really cool things.
Because I'll buy all of it.
Yeah, and let's talk about the teaser. Yeah, let's talk about the teaser video. I think
let's put it up. Let's go ahead and watch it. So this was dropped at 10 o'clock this morning.
Your attention, please. Kings Island will be closing in 10 minutes. Please make your way to the front of the park, and we hope you had a wonderful day here at Kings Island.
Go ahead. Look around.
So, you wanted to see the theater, did ya?
Looking for some excitement, are you?
that Beautiful. Ryan is clear. But first of all, how can you not love the Maestro's music, right?
The Maestro's music, the Maestro's new hair.
Yeah, it's all pretty cool, but
he's definitely got that's more hair than he had when he was an animatronic, at least.
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk about this video real quick. And I want to say that, in terms of an announcement video that they've done, there's been all kinds over the years, but I think you have to go back to when Banshee was announced and, just how everybody was, excited about that one. And, when you had Son of Beast, came crashing down and all the supports and everything, when Banshee came popping up out of the ground. I think that was, since then, this is the best they've done in terms of a new attraction announcement. I think hands down better than Mystic Timbers. So I think this was really well done. But even last week, the teaser that they did, I think, you can see, there's some people that I know in the company, you can see their little touches in that video. I thought that was an outstanding teaser video too, in terms of teasers again. Banshee had a lot of in-park type teasers. They didn't have a video like that to tease it. So I really think that they knocked it out of the park with this, both videos, the teaser last week, the teaser for the announcement today. I think that was fantastic. So congratulations, Kings Island Six Flags team. I mean, I think you hit it out of the park with this.
I do too. I was wondering what they would do, because this is definitely a thing where you need to tease, not spoil. You definitely can't show, you can have a POV of Banshee and you can show that all the time, but until you've ridden Banshee, you've never ridden Banshee. A dark ride's not the same thing. If you show an animation of what the entire layout's going to be, it kind of spoils it. Right. So I was wondering what direction they would go with this. I was like, are they going to give us too much or whatever? But it's, when we look at, the old Phantom Theater, like this is the old Maestro. So for those of you most of you who are watching this probably are familiar with this, and this probably looks familiar from the, Scooby-Doo and the Boo Blasters days, because that's that alcove there that has no reason now, but it's because the Maestro's organ was up there. And the Maestro at the time was a brilliant animatronic. He would play the organ, and when he's over there, he's like looking left and right. Like he clearly wasn't really playing it, but from your point of view, you could see his shoulders shifting and stuff. And then he would turn around and he would, kind of taunt the crowd. And that's right. So you want to see the theater, don't you? I think this will come back, maybe even bigger and better than ever, because you talked about like the hindsight is that nothing's as good as it was. I mean, that looks like a pretty crappy animatronic nowadays, but at the time that was groundbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, it was I think outside of the haunted mansions at Disney, Disneyland, Magic Kingdom, I think that was the best dark ride that I had experienced. There's some other good ones out there. Six Flags Over Georgia has a really good one. But this one was, number 3 on my list, and I think on most people's list, at least the top 5. There's some that have been on a lot more than I have. But it was really, really good. But as the years go by, after something's gone, it always seems like it, was better than it really was. And I think that those that are disappointed, that it's not the exact same ride, wait till you experience. Just like Mystic Timbers, when they announced that, there was a lot of disappointment. It wasn't a record breaker. They're all saying too short, not fast enough, not tall enough, all those things. Whoever decided this should be fired, only to say in April when it opened the next year that it was their favorite ride. So I think you're going to have a lot of that where there's, I wish they'd done it the other way. I wish they hadn't done this. I wish they built a coaster, but after they experience this, they're going to be very excited about it. And it comes with really good timing too. They're going into Labor Day weekend, the first deadline to, buy your MVP pass, season pass for just $99. That includes the 40+ parks. There's usually an extension. Won't be surprised if there is again. But at the same time, the timing's really good. You get everybody excited going into that final weekend of summer at Kings Island. They can't visit for a couple weeks after this. So it, the timing's really good, gets people excited, puts Kings Island on their mind, reminds people to come get your last rides on Boo Blasters. So, everything about this, I like the way they did it. They really teased it well. A couple of those videos, you can tell they put a lot of thought into that, a lot of time to film it. And then just the backstory and that they've come up with. I love it. I everything about this I love, and so I can't wait. April can't come soon enough for me now, because I really want to experience this attraction.
Yeah. So a couple thoughts. Do you remember when people online were saying that they were getting off the Beast ride and they were told that they couldn't go through Planet Snoopy because they were filming in Boo Blasters? Well, there you go. That's what they were filming right there.
Yeah.
It had to have been, because you and I were talking about what could they why would they stop people from walking through if they're filming in Boo Blasters? But clearly this is what they were working on.
Yeah, they could have been doing the other things inside after Boo Blasters closed for the night. Nobody would even know anybody was in there. But for this, what they did outside, you can see why they didn't want anybody walking through there. Like I said, just a phenomenal job by Kings Island, Six Flags, putting those teasers together. And that really even makes you excited if, it's that much detail into something like this, how good the ride can be. Because let's face it, the last few announcements that they have done, they've been pretty underwhelming, and just kind of slapping it on the website, putting something out on social media, just renderings, not a video of anything really over the past couple of years. So I think this is something to really be excited about if you're a Kings Island fan. And again, I can't wait for April to get here.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the teaser thing, because I keep on looking at this because I want to print it out in large format and use it as a poster because I love this so much. The Doom Buggies, I don't know if they ever called them Doom Buggies in Phantom Theater officially, but the red paint, like the velvet color, I love. I think that looks better than the original. And then look at it. So there's the music notes at the bottom. You got No Legs Larry there. He's like everyone's favorite now because he's a puppet.
Yeah.
I remember there being a cat, because I remember that cat noise. And then, the Maestro we talked about at length, and his hair is a little long for, how we remember him. But of course, this is a little bit more cartoonish. Now, some people pointed out, I have to bring this up, there's a big argument on like TikTok or something that this was probably AI because he has 5 fingers on his left hand and 4 on his right hand. Okay, I'm sorry. It's the 21st century. It's probably AI. I don't care. Like, I understand that there are probably graphic designers that are like super passionate about that and stuff. And it's, I understand like jobs at risk or whatever. But if you can spend, $1,000 getting something like this created, or you can whip it up using a service that may be free, I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, there's a lot of brands out there doing that, Ryan. So there's, there's nothing wrong with what Kings Island is doing. I mean, it looks really good, and yeah, maybe AI. I don't know. I mean, I can't really tell the difference. If something's AI or something was done in house, and I do get, the people that really skilled graphic designers. It is putting a lot of them on the street. But I think what you also hear, when it comes to AI, that was a topic when I went to a social media conference. I think it was, maybe it was the last year I went, 2022, I think it was, maybe 2023, but it was, one of the conversations was, the fear that marketers had that AI was going to eliminate jobs. And, the thought process by all the, the people that were attending that session, was that, AI isn't going to put anyone out of work, but those that don't embrace it and use it, those are the ones that were going to be out of work, and that's what everybody's doing now. It's not, it's not a Six Flags thing. You see it with a lot of, well-known brands, they're using AI and they're using it well. So that's just, the world we live in today, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think that because people were freaking out like all white collar jobs are going to go away because of AI. Well, historically speaking, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole any further, but when they invented the car, the motor vehicle, everyone was like, all these people work in the farming industry with horses, they're going to be out of work, so it's going to be terrible. But they created new jobs in cars. When they came out with computers, it's going to put everybody out of work because it can work twice as fast as a person. Now, a lot of people work in computers. So what I believe will happen with graphic designers is that their functionality will change. There'll be the people that can harness the AI creativity really well, and that's what a graphic designer is going to do, But I digress. Don, you wrote a Theme Parks by Don article about this, and probably a lot of people at the park will love the article, hate the author. But tell us about your article.
Well, that's the way it goes. No, I think one of the things that somebody had messaged me, it was like 10:20, and they said Kings Island's already announced their thing. I'm surprised you don't have your story up. Everyone's gonna beat you, in the local media. And it's like, it's not about that. I don't have to be first with an article. I just want to do a little bit better, and kind of really think about it. What is this? What does it mean for the guest? What's that experience going to be like? I needed more than 15-20 minutes to kind of take that in. So my article got published, I don't know, noon, 12:30 range or something like that. But it's themeparksbydon.com. Just go there. And, I just kind of tried to capture the spirit of the thing with the article. So, hopefully those that read it, enjoy it. And, some, hopefully you subscribe, because there'll be a lot more Kings Island, Cedar Point, Six Flags stories that will, pop up as they, do around the industry, other things in the region. So it's a good resource for you to get your Kings Island news.
Absolutely. And obviously you can follow Kings Island social channels and their website, visit kingsisland.com for the latest updates. Hopefully it's a little bit more full than it was for River Racers, because there's a lot more to see here.
Well, I think it will be. I mean, you've got different people doing different things now. I think when you look at Tony Clark, who manages the PR for Kings Island now, he was always really good about keeping the Cedar Point fans engaged, whether it was social media, the YouTube series and that he would always do about construction updates, making sure the media knew what was going on. So I feel really good that, guests won't be kept in the dark with this one throughout the winter, and they'll have more. If there's a blog update, it'll be more than another sentence added to what they've already done on the blog. There'll be other types of updates and talking to people who are involved in, in designing and building it. I think so. We'll see a lot more people like that involved. Better storytelling out of Kings Island with Tony there.
It's funny because you always use the phrase storytelling, but what was popping in my head was the advantage of this ride from a social media standpoint is that there's a narrative involved. But I guess we're kind of talking about the same thing.
Same thing, yes, exactly. But before, we're used to the last couple years where it's just a picture of a rendering, and it's construction's underway on River Racers, buy your silver pass, that kind of thing. And I think you need to get past that and just do a better job of storytelling. And based on what Tony has done at Cedar Point, he always did a good job about telling the stories, updating with the progress and getting the people closest to the work involved in telling those stories. So I think that that's going to bode well for Kings Island fans moving forward.
Absolutely. All right. We want to hear in the comments. Are you excited for this? Is this exactly what you dreamed of, especially as a Boo Blasters replacement? Are you disappointed? Did you think it was going to be a coaster? We want to know everything that you have to say about this 2026 announcement. By the way, do you think this was the original intention? Is this a family thrill ride?
I would classify it as that. Yeah. Cause I think dark rides, there is a little bit of a thrill element to that for me. That's where I sit. I mean, a lot of people have, different opinions of that, but I think it does fall under that family thrill description that they threw out there last year. What was it? Beginning of November or something?
It was like over the summer last year, I think. But yeah, because to me, I mean, maybe they didn't want to say dark ride because that's going to show all their cards way too early. But this doesn't say family thrill to me, but I wasn't the decision maker in the language. But
no, anyway. But I mean, you're going to have a lot of people if you're excited about it after you ride it too. I mean, that's fun is part of a thrill, So I think it fits what they were saying they were going to do. I don't think they misled anybody or anything.
No. It's better than what we were speculating. That Zamperla family coaster, that would have been fine. This is actually like, I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah. There was a lot of different things that were, bantied about. And the truth of it all is, I mean, with Six Flags, things were changing rapidly, with plans. Some things got delayed. Some things have been canceled. Some things were, look at Siren's Curse. That was not planned for Cedar Point.
No,
that was a very last minute type of a thing. So things were shifting back and forth. And there were things that, possibly could have ended up at Kings Island, possibly in that vortex spot, possibly in the crypt building. So there was a lot of different things that kept changing. But the one thing that was, the one constant that was on the board was to do an update to Boo Blasters. Yeah. And it was time. That was easy to figure that out. Last year when they said that okay, it's 15 years, dark rides like that normally don't last more than 10 without getting an update, especially historically at Kings Island. So it was time, that it was overdue. And there was a lot of people that, worked at the park during my days, even, that acknowledged, the last couple of years that I was there, that, it's due. We got to do something in there. It's time has come, and, now we've got something really excited to look forward to next spring, and, something that should, for the next decade at least, make families happy.
Yeah. And let me finish my sentence that I started 10 minutes ago, because I derailed this train. But we want to hear your thoughts in the comments about this, whether you're excited or not excited, or if this is exactly what you hoped for, or if you hope for something else. Tell us all about it in the comments. Let's move on to a segment we like to call Buy or Sell. Don, buy or sell? Kings Island and the Vortex plot of land will build a 340-foot dive coaster with a 101-degree drop and 101 miles an hour with 8 inversions. Then a second lift hill, about 180 to 210 foot drop, and 7 more inversions, taking the world record for highest drop on a lift hill, most angled dive coaster, fastest dive coaster, and most inversions in the world at 15. Buy or sell?
That to me is a very easy sell. That's something that you're looking at. That'd be $50+ million to do something like that, which they do not have. So that's an easy sell for me. And I think I'm gonna put this out there. Anybody that is thinking that something's coming to the Vortex, plot in the next year or two, grab a Snickers. It's going to be a while.
Or you can submit your story to us and we'll send you a Snickers. More on that later.
Yes.
All right. When we're back, Don's going to take us over the point.
All right, Ryan, Cedar Point, Kings Island is going to be closed after Labor Day weekend for the next couple of weeks. It's a good opportunity, especially for those that have the pass now with the All Park Passport, to pay a visit to Cedar Point. And you want to get there soon because Cedar Point's Happy Friars Fresh Cut Fries Fest is back. September 5th through the 7th. Again, dates Kings Island is closed. So guests can dig into 4 limited time loaded fry creations alongside the park's classic spuds, a staple since 1942. At the newly remodeled Happy Fryer near Gemini, try chipotle chicken fries and smoked chipotle chicken and queso or smokehouse fries topped with pulled pork and barbecue sauce. That sounds good. Over at the Hot Potato near Raptor, enjoy supreme pizza fries piled with pepperoni, cheese, and veggies. That doesn't sound good to me. Or cheeseburger fries loaded with sloppy Joe, beef, pickles, and cheddar. Fan favorites like buffalo, garlic, parmesan, and chili and cheese fries are also on the menu. Plus, you can snap a selfie with Happy Fryer himself from 12 to 2 or from 4 to 6 p.m. each day. Again, that is September 5th through the 7th at Cedar Point. I am tempted as a foodie fan to head north.
Sorry, we just got the ability to do sound effects. Yeah, so the Fryer stuff is really good. They just renovated that building. And this stuff looks I mean, I think that our Potato Works is very similar in spirit, but they don't really have anything like that. So it's worth checking out. And I mean, I guess while you're there, you can twist my arm and I could ride Siren's Curse or Top Thrill 2 or something.
Top Thrill 2, the Lake Erie Railroad is a great one. Millennium Force. I mean, there's so much to see, so much to do at Cedar Point. And, you know, we have a lot of listeners that live north of Columbus, you know, so Cedar Point is kind of their home park. So we wanted to incorporate a little bit of a Cedar Point touch in each of our episodes, try to come up with something that is newsworthy and a reason to visit America's roller coaster.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds exciting. We'll be right back with the listener questions. All right, first up, we've got a voicemail.
Hey, Ryan, this is Ryan Don. This is Jordan. You already know who I am. I was making a reservation to Cedar Point for hot weekends like this year, like I had like left every year. And anyway, like I was getting the all season like haunt attractions pass for up there, just like I did for over at KI. But the weird thing I noticed is that like when I try to put in my pass information, they would give me a barcode error. But here's where it gets even more interesting in my eyes. I noticed I did an experiment where I would actually try the same thing with like Carowinds, Kings Dominion, and Thorny Park, and like the pass would actually go, the whole information would actually go through right into like shopping carts, like ready for me to buy them. But yet Cedar Point is the only one that wouldn't let you do this. I thought that was kind of like really unusual, and so we told Carowinds about it, and they were even kind of like surprised when we told them about what we actually noticed on the website. The park was saying that like I had to switch my pass to like Cedar Point in order to be able to qualify for it, which I thought was kind of like odd. Didn't make any sense to me because of what was already in front of us, but I just went along with it like at this point, like anyway. But do you feel like this is kind of like really concerning, like the fact that they got an issue like this going on as well, like just in the online software? Hey, thank you for allowing me to put this question on there, by the way. Have a good day, both of you guys. Bye.
All right. Well, thanks to Jordan. That's Jordan from New Vienna, Ohio.
Yeah.
This sounds like both a software error and a breakdown of communication, because if it's a company policy where you can only get the all season haunt thing for your home park, that's a stupid policy, but like I could see that happening. But the fact that he can add the Carowinds one, no problem. And he calls Cedar Point, they say you got to switch to a Cedar Point pass. No, you don't.
No, you don't have to do that. It is a breakdown in communication. You know, we saw that a lot the last couple of years with different things, you know, a little bit more after the merger. They're not all on the same page. They should be, you know, and it's 2026. So you shouldn't be having those kind of issues with this, you know, software where some parks are taking it when you go online, and some of the other ones aren't. I think the thing is, when you talk about 40 plus parks, Ryan, if we were to have just some kind of a random question and we called 40 something parks, we would probably get 30 something different answers to the same question.
Right.
And that's not a good thing. So they got to work on that a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely a software issue. There should be no reason that you can't, make that transaction the same at Cedar Point that you can every other park. And no, you do not have to make it a Cedar Point pass to make that work there.
Yeah. So thanks, Jordan. Yeah. I would call him again and see if you get a different answer from a different person. This next one has some visuals. It's Jim from Cincinnati. So I appreciate you sending these in. He said, while recently watching the Partridge Family episode, I Left My Heart in Cincinnati, which is available for free on Tubi, he mentioned, I noticed an interesting detail. In one scene, David Cassidy, Danny Bonaducci, and Mary Ann Mobley are shown on the Eiffel Tower's 275-foot platform, along with some background characters. At that time, the episode shot in 72, the platform roof shows to have been completely open air, no protective cage that someone could have climbed over and done a stupid stunt like base jumping. Today, however, the 275-foot level is fully enclosed with protective caging. I'm curious, does anyone know when this modification was made? Was it a result of the tragic death of John Harder in May of 1983, or did the cage occur later or earlier than 1983? I've included a screenshot of the episode, which you're seeing on the screen now, along with the current 2025 photo for comparison. Any historical insight would be greatly appreciated. Great question, Jim.
It is a great question. No, the 1983 incident at Kings Island had nothing to do with that not being enclosed. It was more of the opportunity someone had on the 50-foot level to get inside the elevator shaft. And that's what happened there. So that had nothing to do with that. What did lead to that being enclosed is the sister park, Kings Dominion, in 1986. I want to say it was August 13th, 1986. Someone could, maybe check on that, but I want to say that's the date, August 13th of 1986. Some man, I think they said, back at that time when that happened, I remember reading about this, that they were in their, maybe their 30s or something, and they jumped, committed suicide from up there, and they kind of landed on down below, like on the 50-foot platform. And, so obviously they fell to their death, but that's when that decision was made that we need to enclose this so something like this never, ever happens again. So you have to go to 1986 as the reason that the situation in 1986 led to that, and it was 1987 when that was all enclosed.
Yeah, so I actually didn't know about this at all, but I did a quick Google search, and 1986, a man dressed in a suit paid the entrance fee, rode the elevator to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and then jumped. He reportedly hit the 50-foot level on his way down.
My memory is good, isn't it?
Your memory is scary good. It really is. But there's your answer, Jim.
I remember talking about that situation with a couple of the Kings Island marketing people at the time, Ruth Voss being one of them, after that happened. And, Ruth saying, I certainly hope that something like that would never happen here, and she had just dealt with that 3 years earlier with the other situation, from the grad night incident. So, just having those kind of conversations, is part of the reason why it sticks in my brain a little bit with some of those things.
Yeah. John from Wilmington, Ohio says, what did you think of the Kings Island's recent social media video promoting the MVP sale and the girls on the train trying to avoid eye contact with the man with the giant season pass sign? It made me laugh, but not really compelled to renew.
They've had, and it's not just Kings Island, but you look across the whole Six Flags portfolio, and there's been a lot of really corny, a lot of really bad season pass videos, season pass post. I think, when you look back, especially the last couple years at Kings Island, a lot of everything they try to do is to cram a season pass message into it. They can talk about that, parks now open daily, get your silver pass. River Racers now open, get your silver pass. Or just a picture of a silver pass or a gold pass, and just, enjoy unlimited visits and, go through the, spitting everything out that, it's been around forever. You kind of figure with a season pass, it's unlimited, unnecessary, really information. I think, and this even predates my time there, I thought that video for season pass using the train um, was the best season pass video the park has done that I can remember. And it goes, even before my time. I'm talking about TV commercials, everything. I think that's the best season pass. And the reason why I think it's the best is because it felt more real, genuine, authentic. You used real, people. You didn't go pay for actors
Right.
to do this. It was people from the park. And it was, I think it was scripted out really well. It was, funny, engaging. Um, I just thought it was the best season pass, piece of content that I've ever seen the park do. And that goes back to, you know, uh, I'm talking about, since the Gold Pass, came out. So we're talking the last 25, 26 years, with this. But I think it's the best piece of content that they've done for a pass. And not just because it's one of my favorite rides with the train. I just think it just connected, resonated better because it was more genuine, more authentic, and it didn't really come across, even though it was a sales message, it didn't come across as a sales message. So, good job by the Kings Island team, with that. I don't know who, wrote that or, anything like that, but it was still, very well done. And I hope that's a sign of things to come in the future because you're more inclined to interact with that. You see the people on the train, you see the guy with the sign. I mean, those people look like the people you see at the park all the time. There's nothing fake about it. And I think sometimes, when you go to get the paid talent, people can tell they don't buy into it. They know the park paid for those actors and that. So I really think they did a great job with it. What did you think, Ryan?
I thought it was fine. I mean, it's like a lot of the messaging becomes white noise because everything was about buy a silver pass up until the MVP sale.
And then everything became about the MVP sale.
And everything, yeah, but it should be, like they have like what 45 days of this MVP sale to I mean, and not going behind the curtain as far as how badly they need this to work out. But I think that initial fall push is important, and I understand that. But yeah, as far as like the videos are concerned, at least this is different. At least it's not something stupid from TikTok that only a certain percentage of people would understand or whatever, and it just comes off as cringy. This one had messaging
It was
behind
fun.
it.
I mean, it was fun though,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was, it was kind of telling a little bit of a story. Like, oh, don't pay attention to the guy over there. Like they were getting bombarded by that guy and stuff. And it was just, I think that could have worked as a TV spot. I really do. And I think it would have done better than some of those ones that they paid a lot of money to have produced for it as a TV spot for season pass, because there wasn't, and it was, you knew they were at Kings Island. Those TV spots, you've got attractions that were from other parks,
Mhm.
in the commercial, that you're like, that's Valley Fair, not Kings Island. So, I mean, there's a lot of, people are noticing that more than what the message was about. This one now was, it was simply, here's the thing with, we got this offer. It's a great deal. You get this, hurry, it offer ends Labor Day. I think it was good. I even replied to their posts, and I just said, you almost had me at the train, but if you do one now with the racer and the carousel, you got me. I'll upgrade to Prestige. They haven't done those videos, but I really like what they did, and I think they need to be, kind of acknowledged for that they did something really, really well here that I think connected with a lot of people more so than some of those other produced spots.
Yeah. And if you got your own questions, email them to us, hosts@towertopics.com. Your first name, the city you're from, as well as your question. And we'd love to feature it on the show. If you're too hip to email us at hosts@towertopics.com, you can send us a text or a voicemail at 513-399-7538. That's 513-399-7538. If you send us a text, we will read it like we did today. If you send us a voicemail like Jordan did, then we will play it on the show. While we're out there in the ether, if you want to send us your Kings Island stories, did you work there? Did you fall in love there? Did you have your heart broken there? We want to hear your stories. We might read them on the air. Hosts@towertopics.com. If we pick your story to read, we'll send you a Snickers bar. That's not even a joke.
No, we will. We'll seriously send you a Snickers bar, and we'd love for you to join the Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook, just look for Tower Topics. It's a group that's growing by 15, 20, 30 people every single day. And we hope that becomes a community that gets a lot of engagement by Kings Island fans. It's a place for you to share your Kings Island stories, ask your questions about Kings Island. Someone's going to have the answer for you there, because there's nothing that somebody hasn't experienced that you're trying to get an answer to. And just a great place to just again keep the conversation going about Kings Island. 24/7, 365. If you've got talk about your experiences, talk about your questions. If there's something that's great, we want to hear it. If there's something that's negative, there's not going to be any censorship there. You're allowed to express your thoughts. All we ask is that everybody is respectful to everybody. If someone doesn't like RMC, then don't go after them. If someone doesn't think you should RMC the beast, don't go after them in that group. Just kind of say why you think they shouldn't. But just be respectful. It's going to be a good place. It's a growing community. It's a place that there'll be a lot of I'll use the word information that you won't find anywhere else will end up being on this Facebook group.
Yeah. And we'll see you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as we drop episodes about Kings Island, doing commentary, talking about history, talking about things we like, talking about things we don't like, right here on Tower Topics.